Okay guys, so I'm out here and I am testing out the Spirit Fox bait finesse reel, and I figured what better way to test this reel out and do on the water impressions than to actually go out fishing. So I'm out here at my local, well, my closest trout spot, and I've mounted the reel on my favorite bait finesse rod. That's the Ace Hawk CU double with the ultralight tip. I have 4 pound, actually it's 3 pound copolymer, and it's kind of really thin, so hopefully it won't get in between the spool and the frame. And I put my polarized filter on the GoPro. Hopefully you guys can see all these fish swimming around here. There are a ton of different kinds of fish. Of course, there's trout, there's big shad, there's bass in here, there's walleye, there's big carp, there's stripers in here or hybrids. So fishing here, you never know what you're going to catch. So hopefully we'll be able to catch something. So currently I'm going to start off with a lure that I believe is 1/8 of an ounce, and let's see what happens. All right, so I'm going to set my spool tension. I'm going to just tighten it up to minimize the side-to-side play. Once again, the very positive spool tension clicks are very welcome. There we go. Okay, I'm going to start off with the brakes on maximum, and let's see what happens. Okay, so far so good. The lure jerked off way to the left, which means the brakes are still very strong. And that was the one concern that I had, was that the brakes may not be strong enough with that aluminum spool shaft. So far, no fish is paying attention to this lure. There are monster carp swimming all over this place. If I accidentally hook into one of those, I'm in trouble. Okay, one more cast with the brakes on maximum. So that went out there about a good, I don't know, about 10 yards. Got to see some trout, kind of looking at it. It's going to be a tough day to catch any fish today. It's bluebird skies. It's almost noon. The sun is way overhead. So the fish, if I can see the fish, they can definitely see me. So if I hook into something, it's going to be probably something that's way out there. All right, let's just start backing these brakes down. So I'm going to go down to the minimum setting that I can and see how far it casts. Okay guys, so I worked the brakes down, and the lowest I could go without getting an overrun is going to be the number 8 on the dial. Let me show you how far it casts this lure now. Pow, that thing went out there probably close to 100 feet. Casting is very smooth, very quiet. I felt some kind of a, I don't know, some kind of a resistance back at home when I unboxed the reel when spinning the spool, but I don't feel anything or hear anything out here on the water. But then again, it could be because there's so much noise around me right now. There's water over there that's being dropped in, and it's kind of hard to hear stuff. So many fish around, not one fish is interested in this lure. Could be the color. So let's give it a few more casts, let you guys see where this thing lands. That is Very impressive. Going out there close to 100 foot. And I am really not even casting with my full effort because there are a bunch of rocks behind me and it's kind of a steep angle, so I can't reach back as far as I normally would. Let's go this way. Pow. Now, one thing I noticed, I had a blow up off camera and the line did not go in between the spool and the frame, so that tolerance seems to be very, very good. And this is really, really thin line. This is equivalent to 3-pound fluorocarbon. It's actually 3-pound copolymer. So I'm curious to see if this thing will cast a trout magnet. It probably will. Okay, a couple of more casts. We'll go this way. Pow, that thing is going out there. Once again, probably close to 100 foot. Spool was super controlled. Not one coil on it. Now granted, this setup here with the line and the rod is very good for casting really light lures. So we're probably seeing the best effort that this Spirit Fox can do. And so far, I'm very, very impressed. All right, a couple more casts and then I'm going to change up lures and we're gonna go even lighter. Hopefully you guys can see where that's landing. But man, so smooth, so effortless. All right, one more. A good sidearm cast. All right, so 1/8 of an ounce, no problem, as to be expected. The great thing is that the brakes are still plenty strong enough. I have probably 4 or 5 clicks in reserve before the spool starts to blow up. Pow! That's probably the farthest cast so far. Okay guys, so up next is going to be a Lucky Craft Pointer 48. This is a 2.2 to 2.3 gram lure. And so this is roughly, I guess, 3/32 of an ounce. And I'm going to turn the brakes up to maximum. And let's see how this thing does with this 2.2 or 2.3 gram lure. All right, that went out there probably about 40 foot. And I see this huge carp with this big wound on his head. He's bullying this bass. That carp is probably like 6 or 7 pounds, and he was bullying this probably 1.5 pound bass. Oop, there's a bass. A bass struck at the lure, but he didn't commit. Here comes another bass. These look like stripers. So if I'm going to even catch one of these things, I'm probably gonna have to really work this lure really fast so they don't get a good look at it, because they're coming right up to the lure and stopping. Probably because this water is so clear, they see that it's got hooks. But there's a bunch of shad around here and a bunch of bass. It's hard to tell what kind of fish they are. I've only seen a couple of trout so far. Okay, let's do one more cast. All right, that's probably going out 45 foot. Okay guys, so unfortunately off camera on a cast, the lure snapped off and this happened. So that's bad luck. This is actually copolymer from China and it looks like it's crap. So hopefully I'll be able to unpick this out. If not, I'll try to cut it out, and I do have some extra line in my bag that I'll respool. But yeah, there goes another $15 jerkbait. Oh well. Okay guys, so the show must go on. So I was able to cut out a lot of that line. Here's how much line is left on the spool. Still plenty. But I've tied on yet another $15 jerkbait. I'm not gonna cast so hard this time, and hopefully I won't lose this one. So this is actually a trout color jerkbait. Hopefully some fish will give me a reaction bite. Okay, so right now the brakes are on 9. Let's go down 2 more clicks. All right, so that's going out there probably a good 75 feet. Very controlled. Not even an interest in this lure. Okay, so 8 was as low as I could go with that 1/8 ounce lure. So let's see if I can go even lower on this. Okay, saw a couple of loops there. Now, granted, I am not casting as hard as I normally would, but the lure is going out there a good, at least 70 foot. If I had maybe 4-pound line on here, I could put some more effort into the cast and get it out there farther, but for this lure, that's awesome. These fish are not having it. All right, let's go down one more. Okay, I think I found the limit there. Spool overran, not that bad. But yeah, so I think the limit is going to be 7 on the dial. It's kind of strange seeing as it was 8 with the heavier lure. So brakes for this weight lure are still plenty strong enough. So basically you have from here to here that much more brake to play with. All right, let's do an overhead cast, see what happens. Try not to break this line. Okay, so I had I guess a overrun that dug into the line. Still went out there a good way. Okay, a couple more casts. Okay, wow, that's going out there a good 70 foot. Nope, not even a follower. All right, one more cast. Let's go this way. All right, I think I need to go down one more click to 8 on the brakes to be able to cast this lure consistently without some kind of a fluff up. So the Tsurinoya XF50 had trouble with lures this light and lighter. definitely had trouble. But the Spirit Fox, no problem. Okay, so brakes on 8. Okay, still casting a good distance. Probably about the same, but no overrun. All right, one last cast with this lure. Okay, had a little bit of a loop there in the middle of the cast. Holy shit, there's a gar. Hopefully you guys can see that. There's a, looks like a spotted gar right there at my 12 o'clock. Man, there's so much variety of fish in here. First time I've seen a gar in here. But I've caught walleye out of here. I've caught skipjack. I've seen people catch bass. We got three types of trout: brown trout, brook, and rainbow. I've caught a hybrid striper out of here. There's carp, buffalo fish. I'm sure there's catfish. There's a bunch of big shad around here. And there's a bunch of huge carp. They just go wherever they want and the other fish get out of the way. Okay, so far Spirit Fox, very impressive. It's good to know that you don't have to spend hundreds of bucks to get a good performing bait finesse reel. Okay, so let's go even lower. Okay guys, so what we have here is a true 1/16 ounce lure. It's about 1.75 grams, no snap swivel. And this is gonna be the toughest test yet for the Spirit Fox. I'm thinking it's gonna do pretty good based on what I've seen so far. So I'm gonna back the brakes down all the way to maximum, see what happens. Okay, that probably went out there less than 30 foot. Brakes very strong. Pulled the lure off to the left. Let's do one more. So very doable, especially if you're fishing some kind of small creek or stream with some trout that's probably less than 10 yards wide. Okay, so let's back these brakes down. Okay guys, so it looks like 8 seems to be the magic number because that's about as low as I can go. It's right around 8 or one click past 8, so 8.5. I should say 7.5. And let me show you what it can do. All right, so that's going out there probably a good 60 foot. I know it at minimum doubled the distance versus when the brakes were turned out to maximum. And I could probably get a little farther if I put a little more effort into the cast. But I don't want to snap this lure off because this lure was expensive as well. Let's do a couple more. All right, yep. Probably going out there at least 60 foot. Now I am noticing that there is this spool, this coil that, or this loop that pops up towards the last half of the cast. Let me see if I can cure that by turning the brakes up one click. Yep. Distance not affected that much, but it cured that one loop that seemed to form. Okay, let's try to do an overhead cast. Okay, that was kind of a rainbow, but distance, very good. Ease of cast, very easy. Now keep in mind, these results are when using this rod and this line. So if you're using a more traditional power bait finesse rod from Japan that has a lure rating of, let's say, a 32nd of an ounce to a 1/4 ounce, your results may not be like this. Okay, one more. Pow. So Spirit Fox casting, very impressive. The retrieve, it's smooth enough, not quite as smooth as the GH100 from what I remember, but for 60 bucks, man, this thing is pretty impressive. It does palm very comfortably. Let you guys take a look at what it looks like on this rod. Now with this color, if it matters to you, it's gonna be tough to find a rod that matches the color scheme, if you're one of those guys. But once again, this comes in red as well as the seafoam. Very, very doable. A true 1/16 ounce. This is probably lower than most people will go as far as how low a lure you're going to throw on bait finesse. And then you got some guys like me who throw this weight and even lower. But yeah, very, very impressive. Okay guys, bonus time. And since I am the most thorough tackle tester on YouTube, I'm gonna see if this Spirit Fox can cast a bare trout magnet. Okay, so let's see what it can do at maximum breaking. Now, I remember doing this with the Lure Star C9 Air, and you know, it casted it a decent distance, enough to catch a couple of fish. So this Spirit Fox should be able to do it easier than that Lure Star. All right, so that was bad. Probably went out there 15 feet tops, if that. As to be expected, breaks really strong. Let's back him down. Okay guys, so I've managed to go down to roughly the same break setting as every other lure. That's between 7 and 8. And let me show you what this thing can do with a 1 gram trout magnet. It's going out there probably 30 foot. So not too bad considering. Now I'm sure if I had more space behind me, I could swing a little bit harder, but oh shit. There was a bunch of carp that just rushed up on the lure. I thought they were going for it. That would have been an exciting fight. Okay, a couple more casts. Now you really have to be quick on your thumb to stop the spool, because this lure doesn't get out there very far and it hits the water really, really quick. I'm going to try to just lob it out there. Still a small blow up. But yeah, I mean, this thing will cast a trout magnet a good 10 yards, but it's definitely not the ultimate bait finesse combo, that's for sure. And I think if I'm going to catch anything today, it's going to be on this trout magnet, because I've seen a lot of fish following it. So while it can cast a trout magnet in a pinch, it's definitely uncomfortable doing it. But for 60 bucks, I wouldn't expect this thing to be able to cast a trout magnet. All right guys, there we go. The Spirit Fox from Tsurinoya. Definitely a contender when it comes to the best bait finesse reel coming out of China. So I'll see you guys back at home. Okay guys, so the Tsurinoya Spirit Fox. Now I want to go over a couple of things real quick. Now the first thing was that when I reviewed the footage when I got home on my computer, I realized that a lot of the casts, you really couldn't see where they landed because of the glare on the water, even though I had a polarized filter on the GoPro, so I do apologize for that. But the reason why I went out there was to basically kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Now of course I wanted to do the casting impressions video for the Spirit Fox, but I actually wanted to do some real fishing as well to see if I could catch any trout or any other fish with the Spirit Fox. And lastly, I wanted to give you guys some new scenery instead of going to the same places over and over. So if you couldn't see where a lot of those casts were landing, I apologize, but I did not feel like doing this video over. Alright, so second thing was that the first lure that I threw, I mistakenly thought this thing was 1/8 of an ounce, this little fake grub. And 1/8 of an ounce is 3.5 grams, but it turns out this lure here is actually a lot lighter than that. It's only 2.3 to 2.4 grams. So the Spirit Fox was still handling this amazingly well, which I kind of expected with the spool weight, but I just want to let you guys know that. Alright, so let's talk about what happened out there. Now, after casting around the Spirit Fox and then fishing it for several hours afterwards, I deduced 2 things. And the first thing is that the brakes on the Spirit Fox are just as strong as the XF50, so that's good news. So basically, the heaviest lure I threw that day turned out to be a 3-gram crappie magnet with a jig head, and basically the lowest I could go was right around 7.5 or 8 on the dial. So even with that, you know, true 1/16 ounce lure, that little jerk bait, I had several clicks of brake left in reserve if I needed more. So let's count them. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I had still 9 clicks left in reserve if I needed more brake to go even lighter. And as you can see, it handled a 1-gram trout magnet decently well. Didn't catch anything with it, but it was the wrong time of the day, I think, for fishing. But yeah, very impressed with the Spirit Fox's brakes. And also, I could definitely tell that this thing casts those lighter lures much better than the Tsurinoya XF50, which I'm not sure if this is going to be replacing or if Tsurinoya is going to sell them side by side. But the XF50 struggles with lures under 3 grams, I think, or under 2.5 grams. But the Spirit Fox handles them easily. All right, so with that being said, is this Spirit Fox the new best budget bait finesse reel? And not just out of China, but from anywhere in the world? Or is it still going to be this Fishband GH100? Now I can tell right off the bat, there were some things that the GH100 I felt better at doing, I should say, but the best thing to do is compare them side by side. So I'm going to do a little comparison video, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, where I'm going to be fishing and casting them side by side with the same rod, same line. And then of course we have to go to the field and do some measured casts in a cast battle. So that way we can get definitive numbers on which one of these casts better. So hopefully anyone who is looking at either of these two reels, at the end of that video you'll be able to make a more informed decision. And I'm going to go over a lot more things than just casting as well. Alright guys, so Spirit Fox from Tsurinoya, definitely a legit bait finesse reel. Alright guys, thanks a lot.